Hi, I'm Luann Hammond, and I've got my buddy Stretch here with me, and we're going to talk about Tesla, the Tesla 3 that is going to be unveiled at any minute. Elon Musk says that he will be unveiling this, so we thought we'd watch it and see what you guys thought about it as well. So join us and tell us what you think about the Model 3, what you think about electric vehicles, and whether or not you think electric vehicles are the future of the nation.
Or the planet.
Or the planet, Stretch says.
Yeah, how many of you are aware the Tesla 3 is going to be priced at something that a Honda Civic or Accord would be, right? 35?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, isn't it?
US dollar. And
what's the mile driving range?
I don't think they've released specs. I don't know.
It's got about 200, 300 miles per for the driving range, right?
They probably have the 90, the big battery, the 90D. It's in the 90D. Probably.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But they're going to do the whole unveil here in a moment. So this is your commentary from Driving the Nation, Lou Ann Hammond.
But you know, I remember down at Pebble Beach when they brought out the Tesla Roadster. And I was one of the first journalist to get in the Tesla Roadster down there with Martin Eberhard. He used to be the co-founder of Tesla.
And that vehicle was quite different than the current 90D or 85D, correct?
Yeah, I think it was 0 to 60 in like 3.7 seconds.
No, I'm talking about the actual frame of the vehicle.
Yeah, I think it was off of a Lotus.
Right.
Yeah.
And who is this Martin person?
Martin Eberhard? Yeah. He and Tapping were the first co-founders of the Tesla, and Elon was actually the big kahuna behind it, the money man. And things changed at some point. I'm not really sure of what actually happened, but Elon became co-founder through a lawsuit that had him and Martin being co-founders of Tesla. Martin's no longer with Tesla at all, but he still gets to be called a co-founder.
There we go. There's the history of the company from Lou Ann Hammond, Driving the Nation.
There you go. Now, what do you think of it? We've been in the Teslas before. What do you think?
Someone wants to know whether the Tesla 3 can get firewood. I suspect the trunk could handle some firewood.
Well, you know, it's got to be blue oak. They wouldn't put pine in there.
Oh, because?
Well, because because Tesla is known for being the highest driving range, right?
Right.
So blue oak is known for being the best firewood that burns the longest and burns the hottest.
Oh, I see. So you're equating wood to battery capacity.
That's right.
There we go. All
right, we've got something that says no driver.
I think you're referring to the fact that this could be an autonomous vehicle. Is that what he's probably referring to?
It could be, yeah.
Since software, the autonomous functionality that's in the current vehicle that has been pushed to the drivers in the 90D, I'm sure they would be available for this Tesla 3, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would imagine that Tesla is talking to all kinds of people, all kinds of groups about being able to be autonomous and electric, which I just think is the future of all vehicles. My next car is going to be a plug-in hybrid, unless Tesla comes out with something like 500 or 600 miles per charge.
There we go, and there's all the boys and girls waiting for the stage.
Yeah.
This is kind of what it looks like at car shows.
Get wood with no driver and pick up my grandmother. Well, there you go. You know, we actually have a neighbor, Barbara. She's 92 years old, and she is waiting for autonomous vehicles because she could go to the store, she could go to the doctor all by herself. So you're right on track with grandmothers being the first people that would be driving this. I remember the Mercedes autonomous concept. Remember we saw that at Las Vegas? We saw it at the CES.
Yeah, last year at CES. I forget the model concept. Mercedes had a vehicle that the windows were essentially screens, and you weren't really actually looking out into reality.
But the seats in the car actually swiveled out, so that if you're an older person or somebody with a handicap, you don't have to swivel in. It's more like you can just swivel out, and you wouldn't have any problems getting the seat would just swivel back in. And you're right, the drunk driving would be gone. My brother-in-law would still be alive.
There's a segue from the geriatric crowd to the
to the drunk drivers.
the drunk drivers.
Yes, we're helping everybody.
This is what it looks like at car shows, right? Isn't it, Laura?
Right. Oh, here he is. Here's our buddy, Mr. SpaceX himself.
I think it's the introduction. It's not.
Oh.
It's not.
Do you think that's Ryan Seacrest?
Good evening, everyone here.
Oh, that's the designer. Is that Franz von
And out there on the
Holzhausen?
internet. My name is Franz von Holzhausen.
Am I good
lead
or
the
what?
design team here at Tesla.
He used to
And
be
I'm
at Mazda.
to welcome you to the Tesla Design Studio here in Hawthorne, California. We are here tonight to talk about Model 3.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't be here without years of intense drive and passion from the Tesla team and leadership on an unwavering mission. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all of my colleagues here at Tesla, it is my honor to welcome to the stage Mr. Elon Musk.
Of course we'll get federal funding for solar highways. We got federal funding for highways. Was that Roosevelt that got us federal funding for highways?
No, I think it was Eisenhower.
Eisenhower, you're right, yes. So yeah, of course, that makes perfect sense. It's already happening.
Great jacket.
Oh yeah. Is he playing off of Steve Jobs?
No, not at all.
Come on,
everyone.
black on black.
Welcome everyone to the Model 3 unveil. We have an amazing product to show you tonight.
Heavy on that
I think
drunk
you're gonna be
driver
blown away.
thing.
But I want to start talking. Just preface this by talking about why are we doing this? Why does Tesla exist? Why are we making electric cars? Why does it matter? It's because it's very important to accelerate the transition to sustainable transport. It really
Yes,
is.
it really is.
This is really important for the future of the world. We have record high CO2 levels. We recently passed over 403 parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere. You can see the chart, and it looks like a vertical line, and it's still climbing. And the last time there was this level of carbon concentration was 11 million years ago. Okay, that was approximately when primates started walking upright. The world was very different.
He says it like he was there.
To that situation. And what
Time
that
travel.
CO2
That's right.
increase results in is
It's a little
steadily
Ferris
increasing
Bueller
temperature.
there.
So we've already increased by 2 degrees. In fact, that doesn't tell the whole story because the extremes of temperature increased by as much as 20 degrees. And that line is going to keep going for some time into the future. It's really important. It makes a difference if we accelerate the transition to sustainable transport. And beyond global warming, there's just the fact that combustion cars emit toxic gases. And according to an MIT study, there are 53,000 deaths per year in the U.S. alone from auto emissions. So it stands to reason
Just
that
from the
if-
emissions,
if
not
a-
accidents.
If a vehicle is spewing toxic gas, that's obviously bad for your health. And so to address this, what we came up with at Tesla was what we call the secret master plan. So,
Top secret.
so this is the first blog that I ever wrote for the company, and it was
Back in
originally
2006.
a three-step. It was originally a trilogy. Now it's a 4-part trilogy, as it turns out.
4-part trilogy.
But it needed to. We needed to figure out how could we, as a tiny company with very few resources, actually make a difference.
Infrastructure's
The only
coming,
way to
dude.
do this was
Yeah.
to start small, to start with a low-volume car, which is why we started with the Tesla Roadster.
0 to 60, 3.7 seconds.
So
Sweet.
with any new technology, it takes multiple iterations.
Right, edit, Susan, you're absolutely right. That's why I think plug-in hybrids before
make it
electric
great and
vehicles.
affordable.
But there are
So step
people that
one
have this
was-
and
was-
can
was
show us
Roadster.
the
Roadster
way.
was high price and low volume. But what where it really made a difference was that it showed people that it showed the world that you could make a compelling electric car. You could make a great electric car.
And everyone that was buying these cars
was the first really great electric car.
had no problem putting $150,000 down without ever having seen the car. That's
slow and ugly and
how much they
and
believed in what was happening.
And we had to break that mold. It was incredibly important to show that that wasn't true. And so we made the Roadster, which is fast, it's beautiful, it's great performance. For those of you who bought the Roadster, thank you.
Yes. I was one of the first people down in Pebble Beach, one of the first journalists to actually drive the Tesla Roadster.
And we only made 500 units a year, because that's all we really could make for the Roadster. But it had a very leveraged effect. In fact, Bob Lutz, the former vice chairman of GM, actually credits the Roadster with the Chevy Volt program, which then led to the Nissan Leaf program. And really, even though we were making very few cars, it actually had quite a huge leveraged effect on the auto industry. But there was still a lot more to do. And a lot of people said, well, the Roadster is nice, but it's sort of a toy and it's very expensive, and you couldn't really make a car that people would use every day, or a car that could really compete against the great combustion sedans of the world. So we thought, okay, we're going to make the Model S. So
this is the second part of the trilogy.
Yes. Dun, dun, dun.
Of the trilogy. We should call it a trilogy.
Trilogy.
Yes.
So the Model S.
He's going to get
any of you drive Model S?
Yeah. The S is a gorgeous car. That's the one that Stretch and I drove around Roseville, California.
It's a great sedan. It can seat up to 7 people, 5 adults and 2 kids. It's
7 not American
Track
people.
and Motor Trend and others as the fastest four-door car in history ever.
It just depends on what part of the country.
What part of the country would 7 people fit in the S?
It's got great handling. It's got great technology.
In the D.C. area, yes.
Like
but not with 7 people in there, do you?
And it really was rated by almost every group as the best car in its year, and by Consumer Reports as the best car ever.
I think 5.5 stars. Out of 5. He got 5.5.
But the reason for that is not just to achieve some superlative in cars, but to show what an electric car can do.
Susan, you're in D.C.
You'll
have to be on Washington Post car chat line tomorrow at 11 in the morning. That's when Warren Brown and I will be talking about this.
Show the car industry, show the world that an electric car really can be the best car. That's what really mattered. And now, for cars, about half the market wants a sedan, and about half the market wants an SUV. So we'll extend
the trilogy.
The Model S platform into the Model X.
I read the transcript because that's my commute time. Right, you're absolutely right about the Ford C-Max, Faith Lynn.
Is what's needed to develop the Model 3.
The plug-in hybrid is my favorite just for that reason. The infrastructure is not there for everyone.
The cost reductions,
but for these electric cars that people are buying for the Tesla, the Nissan Leaf, those people are our future of showing us what we have to do.
Thank you for helping pay for the Model 3.
In General Motors, there's a guy named Shad, and his mom has a Chevy Volt, and she has solar panels.
So we actually have an S.
It's amazing. She never goes to the gas station. She just comes home and plugs in.
Some challenges,
we do the same thing, Stretch, when we have one.
There are the doors.
Take
it
All
off,
right.
baby. Yeah.
Sort of like SpaceX.
Yeah, baby. Take it off.
Yeah. Do you think they can land back down?
Sure.
Same place?
Now, then going from the S and the X, we finally come to step.
I get it.
3,
SpaceX Model X.
Here we go.
In the master plan, which is a mass
Here's the
market,
trilogy, folks.
affordable.
The fourth of the trilogy.
Car.
That's great. Fourth of the trilogy.
It was only possible to do that after going through the prior steps. But we're here, and we're here to show that to you tonight. And so. So I'm going to describe
Three
some of
bangs from
the
Faithland.
aspects of the Model 3, and then we'll yeah. So let's move to describing. Well, so let's show the master plan again.
Good slide.
Okay, so that's the master plan with steps 2 and 2.5.
Yeah.
And
2 and 2.5.
we're now going to
Because we're in a
Model 3.
trilogy, remember?
First of all, I want to start off by saying the Model 3 is going to be an incredibly safe car. We really believe at Tesla that safety has to come first. We care about you. We want you to be safe. We want your friends and family to be safe. This is paramount. The Model 3 will
Kind
not
of
just
reminds
be
me of the
5-star on average,
Hydrogen
it'll be 5-star
3.
in every
Remember
category.
General Motors had a Hydrogen 3 and they had a skateboard kind of vehicle like that?
Yeah, the same years ago. Remember that
Yeah.
concept, yeah.
And John
And
Batchelor
even the base
actually went
model-
into
even the base Model 3
to New York and
will
drove
do
it.
0
Yeah,
to 60
it's
miles
true.
an hour or 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in less than 6 seconds. At Tesla, we don't make slow cars. And of course, there will be versions of the Model 3 that go much faster.
Of course.
And in terms of range, the range will be at least an EPA rating of 215 miles.
215 miles of driving range. Okay, that's decent.
Yeah, I think that's...
I want to emphasize these are
Yeah.
minimum numbers. We hope to exceed them.
It depends on where you live, though, Elon. If you live in the cold and you live in the hills, it's not
It
going
will
to happen.
also, all Model 3s will come standard with autopilot hardware.
Thank you for sharing. 7 Delta.
That's right. 7 Delta. Shared us.
And all the autopilot safety features will be present in every car. That you won't need to buy an option. The autopilot safety features will always be there.
There we go.
So-
Yep.
Next step from autopilot is fully autonomous.
That's right.
The Model 3 also
2025ad.com,
fits
folks.
5 adults
Yeah.
comfortably. Now, comfortably is the important part here.
I told you. Not fitting 7.
The challenge, obviously, with building a smaller car is how do you still make it comfortable with a bunch of people inside?
Yep.
So there are 2 important design steps we did with the Model 3 to achieve that. One was to move the instrument panel, the firewall. There really isn't a firewall. We don't have a big combustion engine in front.
Hence the reason you don't
moved
need that
the
big
front seats
firewall.
forward and compress the instrument panel. When you do your rides tonight, you'll see what I mean. You're sitting a little further forward. It actually feels great on the front seats. That's what gives you the leg room.
You think
to
they'll
have
bring
5
out a real
adults.
one?
So that your first
A
and
what?
second
A
row
real
have plenty
car?
of leg room.
You think they?
Sure.
Yeah.
Then on the
Cool.
rear roof area is actually one continuous pane of glass. And
Wow. What about a solar panel too?
The reason that's great is because it gives you amazing headroom and a feeling of openness.
Wow.
Sure. Just
So
like your
it
cockpit.
has,
Stretches
I think, by far,
a
the best
flyer,
feeling, best,
and his cockpit
roominess
has
of
a.
any car in the
Canopy.
size.
Yeah.
The canopy is all
then
clear.
in addition, it has just like the Model S, it has a front and rear trunks.
All right.
So
Hide that battery underneath.
you can. It has more cargo capacity than any gasoline car of the same external dimensions.
Wow.
And yeah, and
Do you think they'll ever make a minivan?
Sure.
you can actually. Somebody asked me this question recently. Can you fit a 7-foot-long surfboard on the inside? The answer is yes, you can.
Wow.
Wow.
And firewood.
And firewood.
Then with respect to supercharging,
But only if it's blue oak.
all Model 3s will come with supercharging standard.
That's been the big selling point. Could you imagine going anywhere and not having to
the
buy
reason
energy?
supercharging
Wow.
is very important,
Yeah.
as many of you know,
And Grandma.
is that it gives you freedom
Right.
of travel.
We almost forgot
It means
Grandma,
you can
Susan.
conveniently go where you want, how you want. And a lot about having a car is it's about freedom. It's about going where you want to
right.
go. And so
Freedom, but
the
still
superchargers
privacy.
are critical to
Who are
that.
the supercharger
So
stations?
we're now at the point where we've built out over 3,600 superchargers worldwide.
Wow.
We've got one about, 20 minutes away from us.
About
Yeah,
the
less
same
15
number,
minutes
about
off
the
of
same
the
number of
interstate,
destination charges. That's present day. By the end of next year, we will double the number of superchargers.
Wow.
Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks, DRD.
And
You guys are
quadruple the
awesome.
number of
They can't get
destination
it.
charges.
Their live stream. Oh, there's probably so many people trying to get on.
So
I'm glad we got on.
You will be able to go virtually anywhere. And in fact, because the onboard charger of the Model S is able to adapt to any country's voltage and amperage, wherever you go in the world, if there's electricity, you can charge.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
You know,
So then what about
and if they have
buying
solar
and servicing?
panels,
So
then
where
they
we are
don't
today with
need.
Teslas, we've got
Yeah, but
215
right now the roof is
locations
clear.
in Asia, North America, and Europe. And by the end of next year, we expect to more than double that to 441 locations.
Wow. Wow.
So
It's amazing that
the key
he
point
does
being,
this
you
in
know,
SpaceX.
Almost no
Yeah,
matter where
maybe.
you are, in North America, Europe, or Asia, if you're near any even mid-sized metro area, you'll be able to buy a car and get your car serviced. So
Wow.
now, how are we going to make these cars? Okay, good question. We need to achieve high volume production.
Right.
So this is in two parts. First, there is the vehicle factory. So our Fremont factory in the past has actually made almost 500,000 cars a year. So we're confident that Tesla can achieve that number in the future in terms of vehicle production.
Wow.
So I
Plus
think
they
that's
have the
gonna
Gigafactory
be,
in Reno.
Yeah, that's
I
what
wouldn't say straightforward, but very doable.
A lot of cars in the Bay Area.
And then what
That's right.
about batteries?
Here,
Because in order to produce 500,000 cars a year,
Yeah.
isn't that
we would
great?
actually need
About
the same battery production. We basically need to absorb the entire world's lithium-ion production. That's why
Panasonic
we
Auto.
are building the
That's
Gigafactory.
who's doing their
These
batteries.
are the recent pictures of the Gigafactory. This is a vital element.
This is southeast of Reno.
So to give you
when
a
you've got
sense of scale,
Panasonic
the
as a
Gigafactory will
partner,
actually have the largest footprint
that's pretty impressive.
of any building of any kind. Okay? Volumetrically, it will only be second to the Boeing factory in Washington.
Wow.
So this is really quite an enormous facility.
Wow.
The aliens will see
in
it
fact,
from space.
That's
it'll,
right.
It'll produce more lithium-ion batteries than all other factories in the world combined. In this one location.
Wow.
Wow.
So we're talking about 50 gigawatt hours a year of production.
He just doesn't know how to do anything
and
small,
won't
does
just
he?
be at that volume, but also be producing the most advanced cell and battery in the world. So it's the combination of high volume with the most advanced technology is what enables us to make the Model 3. And it's already operational today.
Wow.
Wow. That is great. And that's up past Reno.
So when
east of Reno, yeah.
when are deliveries?
Between
Well, they're next year. So
I can tell you, if you want to go somewhere that's hiring, go to Reno area.
I do feel fairly confident that it will be next year. Yeah.
He does know how to sell it, that's for sure. But you know what? It was selling way
and then
before
in terms
he
of
had to do
price,
it.
Well, of course, it'll be $35,000.
Here we go, 35K, ready the end of 2017.
35,215 driving
I want
range.
to emphasize that even if you buy no options at all, this will still be an amazing car. You will not be able to buy a better car for $35,000 or even close, even if you get no options. So it's a really good car even with no options.
Wow.
So do you want to see
Average
the car?
price of a car is $35,000.
Here we go, here comes the unveil.
Well, we don't have it for you tonight.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
That's so cold.
All right, let's bring him out.
He's got quite the sense of humor, doesn't he? Oh, space music.
Gotta have space music.
Gotta have space music. Oh, this is so cool. Look at that. Okay, is that a comet?
No, it's the designated vector of the vehicle.
That would be VOV for you. Vector
Yeah.
of vehicle.
Vector of vehicle.
Yes. Oh, look at those lights. Franz von Holzhausen.
Great wheels.
Yes, but you are a dork for being so excited, but we're a dork right with you, baby. Don't worry about it. Franz von Holzhausen was the exterior designer.
That was a great effect.
That was great.
How many different colors do they have?
1, 2,
So we got
3. Silver, gray, and red.
Yeah, silver, gray, and red. Silver's in the middle, gray's on the left.
Oh, thanks so much. It's a T24, 7 Delta.
7 Delta.
Yeah, thank you, 7 Delta. Look at that. Is that beautiful? It is. It's gorgeous. $35,000. My God, that's some competition. Okay, who's coming out? Because these people have to be, the silver is mine. Okay, Susan, what color do you want?
The red is more red than the iPhone is really showing.
Right.
It looks kind of orange, but it's really red.
Oh, Susan says red. We got one silver and one red bought already.
I wonder if these are the default wheels. No, there's 3 different types of wheels on the 3 vehicles, I think.
Silver, 7 Delta is silver.
Wow,
Look at that screen.
17-inch Panasonic.
Oh, did you see the door handle? It overlapped on itself. It is kind of sexy. Wow.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Is everything so clean?
And yet he has children.
Look at the roof. God, what a sunroof. All
Right.
the way back.
Wow. Now I like the way the red comes on in the interior on that.
All right. So what do you think?
To you says it's beautiful. I work for Chrysler Designer Engineering. How many people can it sit? 5. It can sit 5.
Just told that.
Yes, it is
the
good
total number of
competition for your
orders the Model
C300.
3 in the past 24 hours has now passed 115,000.
Wow.
No doubt.
Wow.
Susan's on the phone ordering hers right now. In red.
115,000 pre-orders.
Did you see the lineups?
So, thank you. That's a lot, yeah. Thank you to everyone that ordered the car. We love you. And for those of you that are here, please enjoy your rides tonight in the Model 3.
Oh, wow.
And
Could you imagine?
For those online, you can order at Tesla.com. Thank you.
Okay, there's got to be. Oh, look at that. Nope, I can see where my son might do that in the future.
Yeah,
the future is here.
Yeah, the future's 2017 when it gets here.
Okay, and if you really want to go to a website, it's called 2025ad.com. It was started by Continental, but it tells everything about what's going to happen autonomous vehicle-wise.
And then you have an input. They want you to make comments and have questions about charging and about the logistics and the legality of the autonomous vehicles that are coming.
Yeah, remember, because there was one guy that said on here, what about the charging units, how far can I go, all that. All those questions are answered on 2025ad.com, and this is only one of the cars that they're going to be talking about. But yeah, this is just phenomenal.
Elon mentioned in the beginning of the presentation that the default software will be autopilot, which is, I think, the analogous to the autopilot software that's in the current vehicle.
Right. So you get the Model 3.
I'm glad you guys dug it, and I'm sorry you couldn't stream it live.
No, we're glad that you joined us instead. Stretch is always apologizing.
No, I know what it's like to have limited bandwidth, man. It sucks. But I'm sure that SpaceX is going to take care of that and have some different kind of net connection.
You know, they didn't say 0 to 60, did they?
Yeah, 0 to 60 is in 6 seconds.
Was it 6 seconds?
But Musk mentioned that there'll be other variants of this vehicle that will be faster. But the key for this vehicle is not about speed. It's the fact that it can go 215, and that's probably a conservative estimate for charging capability, depending on the environment that you're driving the vehicle, either whether in hills, mountains, cold or hot. And he mentioned that the charging stations will be doubling next year too.
But you know what that doesn't get mentioned enough is with the standard supercharged 215 with the standard supercharged. What doesn't get mentioned enough is the low-end torque that an electric vehicle gives you.
Yeah. Talk about when you drove the 90D, Luann, compared to, say, a Audi car that has the 6-cylinder or the V8. What kind of feeling was it compared to a horsepower vehicle like an Audi?
Yeah. So you get up. I just tell people that first off, 6 seconds is pretty average on what an average car can do. I think on an Audi A4 or something like that, I think 6 seconds is that about right? I'll have to look it up. I really don't know.
I don't know. You know, when you compare 0 to seconds in vehicles, you have to compare it by weight of the vehicle and the day that you're doing the actual testing. So it's a variance. You know, when the manufacturers test these vehicles, they can't control the environment and the weight of all the vehicles because they're not exactly the same. So that's always a problem.
When is Elon going to make a truck? I want him to make a minivan. I think making a minivan would be much better for them, just because the minivans, I think, are going to make a comeback. But he'd have to make a deal with Chrysler, because Stow and Go is the one that I really love the most.
I suspect that the Model X-Ray, that size of that frame could be turned into some type of minivan, kind of like the Mazda 5 was. Do you remember that was kind of a version of a minivan, although the Model X is a larger vehicle than the Mazda 5.
Anyway, the low-end torque, you get the gearing, and if you don't gear a car right, your torque just doesn't come in right, and you can feel it. It's like a gutless.
And so when you drove the Model 90D, Len, since it had no gears, it was just instant.
It's like a rocket ship.
Because there are no gears. It's all one gear electric motor.
You just feel G-force right away. Right.
Well, we have no other display, but I hope you enjoyed the Tesla Model 3 unveil with Mr. Musk and all those people down there.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. We really appreciate it.
Driving the Nation has more information about Tesla and the autonomous vehicles that are coming.
And you know what? Tomorrow I actually am doing a car chat with Warren Brown on Washington Post at 11 Eastern. So if any of you are up and around at that time online, go to WashingtonPost.com and join us on the car chat.
Yeah, it's called Car Chat. So you just
Real Wheels Live.
So if you Google Real Wheels, 2 words.
Real Wheels Live.
And you'll get the link, and you can ask about the questions about the truck version of the Tesla.
Warren will answer that one. All right, you guys, we really appreciate you coming on. Susan, I'll see you tomorrow, WashingtonPost.com. And Real Wheels Live, we'll chat then. Thanks so much.
You're welcome, 7 Delta. See you guys.